My favorite part about sleep training and working with families one-on-one is celebrating their successes. I have a 98% success rate in my sleep training programs, and I love sharing their wins with you. So today we are going to be talking about Elena, a smushy little 4-month-old who successfully completed and graduated from her sleep training program. Let's get right into it. But beforehand, for those of you who are new here, my name is Sarah Bossio. I am the owner and lead certified pediatric sleep expert at Your Zen Baby Sleep. I work with families of exhausted parents who have children ages 0 to 8 years old. I help them to create flexible and sustainable schedules, establish peaceful bedtimes, and teach their children to sleep through the night so that they can enjoy a full night of sleep and get the rest that they so need and deserve. Now, as a disclaimer, Elena is not the name of this tiny little baby who I helped because I respect the anonymity of my families. So this is a pen name for this little baby, and I will not be giving away any identifying information for this family. Although I did stay overnight with them, so I did have a very intimate look at both their sleep environment and their sleep habits, how they had established sleep up to this point, and how the night went from beginning to end. When I work with families and do overnight visits, I am with them from the time we put the child down for bed, the bedtime routine, the last feeding, the bath, etc., to fall asleep, the sleep training method, and then I am there through every night waking until the morning time when I leave, right between 6 and 7 a.m. So I have a really broad spectrum picture of how the first night of sleep training actually goes. I'm available to give in-person live feedback for the sleep training method. I'm able to assess any protest and crying and the effectiveness of the sleep training method. I'm able to give direct feedback to the parents about the way they are implementing the teaching method and really get eyes on how the baby's doing, right? And how effective we are being in order to make sure that we are really going to be successful as soon as possible so that everybody can get to sleep. So if you haven't guessed, I really do love my overnights because it really jumpstarts the program right from the beginning. Let's set the scene beforehand to understand what the sleep associations were leading up to sleep training and why mom and dad called. Beforehand, we were heavily pacifier dependent. So Elena was falling asleep only using a pacifier, and we were really dependent on contact naps. There was zero ability to go into the crib or bassinet by herself and be able to take a nap on her own. And even the contact naps that she was taking were only 30 minutes. So she was not able to even extend a contact nap beyond the 30-minute point. The pacifier was absolutely needed at the start of the nap and at the start of bedtime. She also needed the pacifier to be replaced very frequently throughout the night, so upwards of 6 to 10 times. The good thing was that as soon as the pacifier went back in, she did easily go back to sleep, so they weren't having to do much other work. She wasn't awake for extended periods of time, but if you break down an 11-hour night into 10 wakings, she's up about every hour, right? Needing to have the pacifier replaced, meaning mom and dad were only getting 1-hour stretches of sleep before they had to get up, go into her nursery, pop the passy back in, and go back to bed. They did report that it wasn't terrible because, again, there weren't these long 1 or 2 hour stints of waking where we had to do these long rockings or long feedings in order to get Elena back to sleep. But there left a lot of room to be desired, right? For better sleep habits. And they contacted me to say, I think we're ready to work on long crib naps where we don't have to do contact because mom was going back to work and they were hiring a nanny to come. They were looking to have the nanny help out with tasks outside of childcare and wanted her to be available outside of contact naps. They also had the goals of being able to put Elena down at bedtime, be able to fall asleep on her own, and to remove the game of passy pong throughout the night so that everybody could sleep that 11 hours without being interrupted. This is what we set out to do in the sleep program, and and we talked about our goals and made sure that we were all on the same page with goals and expectations at the age of 4 months old. My best suggestion when we are managing pacifiers under the age of about 8 months is just to drop them cold turkey. I don't believe in the weaning systems, especially if your child isn't using the brand that the weaning system is associated with, because they're probably not used to that type of pacifier. And it really just elongates the process of weaning the pacifier. So I am a big believer in removing it completely on the first night of sleep training. My rule of thumb is that there are no pacifiers allowed in the crib or associated with crib sleep. And if you needed them, then they would be allowed in the car for car rides or at the doctor's office, or if you were outside in social settings like a restaurant and we really needed to use it for pacifying or soothing purposes, not related again to crib sleep. We reviewed this ahead of our meeting in person. We reviewed their sleep program, went over all of the elements of what we would be going over at the in-home and when I arrived at their house, so that they felt really prepared and ready to go as soon as I arrived. Elena was already being fed. She was almost done with her feeding. She was already bathed. She was in her pajamas so that she was going to be awake when she went into her crib. When I arrived, it gave us enough time to do a little nursery assessment. The environment was perfect. Crib was perfect. Camera was set up. Room darkening shades and white noise were awesome. Elena was being held up for a few minutes because of her reflux, just to make sure she digested the milk. She was wide awake because we had moved the bedtime routine just a little bit earlier to make sure that she was not drowsy at the bottle or the upright after the feeding. And then we proceeded with the method. Mom and Dad snuggled with her for a little bit. We put her in the crib. And as most 4-month-olds do, she protested for about 30 minutes and then fell asleep, which was generally typical for this age group. The protesting I always look at on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being really intense, 1 being just like a little bit of complaining. Elena spent most of her time in the 4 to 6 crying range, and she really did self-soothe and spend several minutes at a chunk in the 1 crying range. So she was showing that she had the ability to self-soothe, and we were seeing that by her head turning side to side. She was rubbing her hands over the back of her head, her ears, and she was rubbing her eyes, and you could see her rubbing her feet together through her sleep sack, and those are all really common soothing mechanisms for the baby. We did brief check-ins using the time checks method. So Dad was able to go in and check in on her, rub her belly, rub her cheeks, which also calmed her down. And within 30 minutes, she was fast asleep, which was amazing. And she actually did not wake up at all until 10 o'clock. So at 10 o'clock, we did another time check. So we waited the same amount of time in which the last check-in was, which was 6 minutes. And right at the 6-minute mark, she fell back asleep before we needed to check in on her, which was amazing. So then from there on out, I prepped the parents. I said, everybody needs to go to bed. I've got the monitor. I'll hang out in the guest room, and I'm going to make sure that she is sleeping. If she's awake, I will come get you and we will do the method together. And if she's sleeping, you guys should just, enjoy the sleep, even though most parents aren't able to really sleep the first night of sleep training. Thankfully, she actually slept through the rest of the night. There were a couple moments where she did kind of stir, reposition, move a little bit around the crib, and make a little bit of noise. Nothing that would warrant us doing any type of method though, and she slept right through until 7 a.m. Throughout the rest of the process, what was amazing is that from day 1, she started to elongate her naps in the crib. So day 1, which is really atypical, so I want to make sure that everybody knows that. Normally, we don't see naps come together until the 2nd week. Normally, it's not the first week that we see hour and a half long naps, but it just goes to show you when a baby is ready and when parents feel really confident about the process, sometimes they really step up to the plate. So day 1, nap 1, she slept for an hour and a half for the first time ever, which was incredible. And Mom said that she only protested at a level 4 for about 5 minutes before she fell asleep for this nap. And she officially, we worked together for 3 weeks, but she officially really completed the whole sleep training process within a week and a half. path, because at that point, all of her naps were on schedule, on track. She transitioned from a 4-nap schedule to a 3-nap schedule and was sleeping completely through the night every single night since then. I love when I have such great success stories, and I love when families are able to be super consistent with their schedules. The reason why Elena's family saw so much success so early on was because they really valued schedules, and they had her on a schedule from a very early age. I want people to consider as a family, if this is something that aligns with you, schedules can be really helpful for babies because they know what to expect next. And when we're used to knowing what to expect next, and we're used to the consistency, it's much easier to remove associations such as pacifiers or bottles or rocking, because there is always consistency that has been in place. So if you're thinking about sleep training and you're thinking about removing your sleep association, maybe you can start by thinking about just establishing a schedule first, and that could be your first step into the realm of sleep training. It's possible with this step that you might have a really easy path to independent sleep, just like Elena and her family experienced. If you would like some individual help, I am here for you. Please find my information in the show notes. As you're scrolling down there, give this video a like so that I know that you enjoy this content. As always, subscribe so that you know when I post my content. And thank you from my living room to yours for being here today. I can't wait to see you next time.